As an educator and a speaker, what are your views on today's generation?
Well, our generation is a little bit different. I don't really blame my generation on what's going on. I blame my generation because my generation was the generation that ushered in the crack movement and the gangster rap movement. And as you can see, during the 1990s, 91, 92, when I came out of high school and a lot of my friends and stuff were out having kids, that's when crack and a lot of drugs were prevalent on our inner city streets. There was huge problems with drugs and what we call crack addicts during that time. So that generation birthed the generation what we have now, where it's like low self-esteem. Nobody cares. People feel like I can't educate myself because the parents before this generation were going through some of the same things. But how I feel about this is a generation of leaders. And if we can tap into these young people, whether you're white, black, Hispanic, Chinese, anything, we can tap into their mind. We're fighting for mind space. Remember, the average school day goes between 8:30 to 4:30. Average. Some go shorter than that. We're talking about after school program if you're even going to 4:30. You're with some type of structure and or instruction during that time. What's happening with the other hours in your life? Are you at home where there's no father there? Are you at home where you're not even living with your mother or father, but you're there with your grandmother? Are you at a home where everybody's at work and you have to feed yourself? So this is the thing I find myself as an educator that I deal with. I have kids that come into my office all the time on discipline issues that have nothing to do with the school. It might be something that they watched on TV. It might be something that mom and dad or grandma or family members are condoning in their house. I had an incident where I actually have kids that actually say that my mom and my dad told me to talk about somebody's mama when they talk about mine. My mom and dad told me if they hit me, hit them back. My mom and dad told me if somebody say something to you, you don't let nobody say something back to you, or if they disrespect you, you disrespect them back. So this is a lot of things that we're fighting with. On the TV side, you got kids come home and they're watching another 4 hours of television. What are they watching? They might be watching videos with half-naked women and men in it. So what they see, this is what I need to be to grow up. I'm going to be a rapper. I'm going to be a video person. I'm going to be a video female that dances for these artists. I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that. And then they're on their iPods and on their computers watching different things. And all these things come back into their mind and into the school system. So as an educator, I'm sitting here watching a kid disrespect a teacher because that's the norm. This is what I saw on TV. This is what I saw on this channel. I need my speech. I need my space. I need to be able to speak out. And that's just some of the things that I do. But this generation is also leaders. If we look at the last president, this generation, the average age, I think from 18 to 25, did a lot of voting through Facebook and through YouTube and texting. This is a generation that can be leaders. But at the same time, we need leaders that are already here to step their game up and to bridge that gap. There's a huge gap. One thing I learned in education through a few mentors that I've had, they said you have to get in and out. And I said, what do you mean by get in and out? You have to turn on MTV for at least 15 minutes and know what your children are watching without them being there. So you got to know about the Lil Waynes. You got to know about Jeezy. You got to know about Waka Flocka. You got to know about Rick Ross. You got to know about DJ Khaled. You have to know who these artists are. At the same time, you got to get in, see who they are, be able to relate, and bring it back into your classrooms. And I tell teachers that if you're going to teach in the urban area, or if you're going to teach in any area, know what these kids like. I was in a classroom and I saw these kids doing something on the internet. I didn't know anything about this popular thing that they were doing, but it's a virtual world where you pick a character and you're actually dealing, it's almost like a Sims, where you're actually playing this character with different people at other schools. I found out about it. So I began to make fun of the kids as I started seeing them play. They didn't know I had been studying them. And let me tell you guys something. These marketers, these big corporations are studying our kids. And they're bringing people into our communities to see what our trends are. And what they do, they go back to their big corporate office and they say, okay, this is a new trend. This is what people are doing. They like the mohawks. Let's bring that out. They like the skinny jeans. Let's bring that out. So I'm noticing the very thing that our kids are doing, they're putting it on TV. 5, 10, 15 years ago, hip-hop, okay, it was out there. But now hip-hop is in everything. McDonald's has hip-hop songs. Chrysler has hip-hop. Everybody's rapping. Because it's the new thing. It's what kids want to do. And we consume. Our kids are consuming. Mom, I want the flip. Mom, I want the iPhone. Mom, I want the iPad. My very son, I want the MacBook. I want the Xbox. These are things that are going on. These are the things that we are fighting against. Not always in a bad way. If we can find a way of bridging that gap. Let's bring the iBooks and Macs into our school. Let's bring video production into our school. Let's bring these things into our school and let's bridge the gap with our generation. If you have a young person, I tell all family members this, parents and everything, if you can sit down and take time to figure out what your kids are watching, number one, what they like to watch, what inspires them, and things that go on in their life, you can actually cut off a lot of foolishness and discipline problems if you begin to take time. Whether you're a grandparent, mother, father, I tell you, take time out. If you look at some stats, 7 out of every 10 homes there's no father. But if you're a mentor, if you're an uncle, take time out with your nephews and cousins and stuff and teach them what's going on, because we consume a lot, but do we understand economic growth? Do we understand economic stability? Do we understand social ability? Do we understand where our dollar bill is going? And if we can teach our kids that on the educational side, bring that into the school system, teach them real mathematics, real science, real social studies, real history, we can bridge that gap. I'm Coach Morris with this inspirational moment. Thank you.